Compiling results across different trials, it consistently demonstrated significantly lower cumulative mortality after a pathogen challenge in shrimp that got probiotics or prebiotics in their diet.
A whole new era of communication in the global aquaculture industry is coming. Now you have the brightest minds in aquaculture right in your pocket. And what's best? You can listen to all of them while driving to a farm, traveling, or running errands. It's never been this good, and it's never been this simple. Welcome to the Aquaculture Podcast Show, the first AI-based podcast in aquaculture, where you'll find cutting-edge insights in everything that's working in aquaculture, nutrition, health, and production.
Welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really crucial area for aquaculture, finding sustainable ways to manage disease in shrimp farming, especially as it intensifies.
Absolutely. We all know traditional antibiotics have, well, limitations. And shrimp farming is just such a massive economic driver, still growing fast.
It really is. So the scale is huge, billions globally, right?
Yeah.
And finding robust solutions is key for the future.
Exactly. And that's where today's focus comes in probiotics, prebiotics, and symbiotics. We're drawing heavily on a recent study looking at their impact.
Okay. And we're talking primarily species like Penaeus vanameae, Pimonodon, often in these super intensive systems.
That's right. Those dominate global production. And those high densities, well, they definitely present challenges, disease being a major one.
Which brings us straight to the core problem we need to address. These intensive systems, they inherently increase vulnerability to outbreaks.
No doubt. And historically, the go-to has been antibiotics. They worked sometimes short-term, but the long-term issues are really piling up.
You mean things like antibiotic resistance?
Precisely. That's a huge concern, obviously, within aquaculture itself, but also, for public health generally. Plus, the environmental impact, the ecological side. We understand that much better now. We need different strategies.
So this study really positions probiotics as a key alternative. Now, technically, they're live microorganisms, but how do they actually help the shrimp?
Well, it's multifaceted, really. One big mechanism is competitive exclusion. Basically, the good guys set up shop and crowd out the pathogens.
So they just outcompete them for space and nutrients in the gut.
Yeah, essentially. But they also actively modulate the shrimp's own immune system. They kind of prime it, make it more ready to respond.
Interesting. And it's not just passive competition. I thought I read they could produce compounds too.
Correct. Some strains actually synthesize antimicrobial substances, so they directly inhibit harmful bacteria. And maybe just as importantly, they foster a healthier, more diverse gut microbiome overall. But it's not just pathogen control. The benefits go deeper into digestion, nutrient use.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, certain probiotics can boost the production of digestive enzymes, better breakdown, better absorption of nutrients.
Makes sense.
And they can even be a source of essential nutrients themselves. Think biotin, vitamin B12. Plus, they produce short-chain fatty acids, which are like critical fuel for the gut lining cells.
Right. And I saw something about quorum quenching, disrupting bacterial communication.
Yes, that too. Disrupting how pathogens coordinate attacks and even helping break down waste in the system, bioremediation.
Yeah.
So it's quite a holistic effect, really. Better gut structure, too.
Did the study provide concrete examples, numbers?
It did. They detailed work with Bacillus subtilis E20. Supplementation led to significant bumps in growth, better feed conversion, higher survival rates.
And immune markers.
Yes, things like total hemocyte counts, phenyloxidase activity, lysozyme levels, all key indicators went up, showed a more robust immune system.
Was there anything on the genetic level? Gene expression.
Good point, yes. Shrimp, getting that B subtilis E20 showed upregulation of genes like ProPO and peroxynectin. These are central components of the shrimp's innate immunity.
So turning on the defense systems, essentially.
Exactly. And this tied directly to much better survival when they were challenged later with nasty stuff like Vibrio alginolyticus and V. harvey.
Okay, powerful stuff. Let's switch gears slightly to prebiotics. These aren't alive, are they?
Correct. They're non-digestible food ingredients. The key is that they selectively stimulate the good bacteria already in the gut.
So they feed the beneficial microbes. What kind of things are we talking about?
The study mentions common ones like inulin, FOS, that's fructooligosaccharides, and MOS, mannan oligosaccharides. You see those a lot. Interestingly, it also highlighted bee honey. Apparently, it's naturally rich in FOS and inulin. And another one called Yuping-Feng polysaccharides, or YPS.
Bee honey, huh? Didn't expect that. So how do these prebiotics work then, if they're not alive?
It's all about fermentation. Beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, they ferment these prebiotics.
And that produces
short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, and lactate. We mentioned SCFAs before. They're vital for gut health. They fuel the enterocytes, those gut lining cells, and help modulate inflammation locally.
Got it. And the observed benefits in shrimp, similar to probiotics.
Pretty similar outcomes, yes.
Yeah.
Better growth performance, improved immune status. That honey supplementation example, for instance, it led to higher digestive enzyme activity and more total beneficial bacteria counts in the gut.
Which likely means better feed use, better growth.
Exactly. And that YPS prebiotic had some specific immune effects noted.
Yes, quite distinct. YPS supplementation was shown to increase total hemocytes, phenol oxidase activity again, and just generally boost antibacterial capacity in Penaeus vannamei.
And it didn't stop there. YPS also helped with antioxidant defenses. Increased enzymes like SOD and GPX raised the total antioxidant capacity TAOC, and at the same time reduced MDA levels, which is a marker for oxidative stress.
So a double benefit, boosting immunity and reducing stress. Now, it seems logical to combine these, right? Probiotics and prebiotics, symbiotics.
That's the idea. Symbiotics aim for synergy. The prebiotic component is specifically chosen to help the co-administered probiotics survive and thrive in the gut.
Amplifying the effects, basically.
Hopefully, yes. Leading to greater benefits than either could achieve on its own.
And does the research support that? Does it actually work out synergistically in shrimp?
It seems so. Studies looking at combinations, say specific bacillus with MOS or FOS, they've reported even better improvements in growth, survival, especially under stress and disease resistance.
So the combination seems to be more effective at what? Shaping the gut microbiota.
Yes, modulating the gut microbiota more effectively, potentially improving nutrient absorption through better gut structure, and amplifying those immune responses we talked about. It really looks like a case where 1 + 1 = more than 2.
Let's zero in on disease resistance then. That's such a critical factor in these intensive systems.
Yeah.
What are the general findings when probiotics are used against pathogen challenges?
The overall picture, looking across many studies, is pretty consistent. Probiotic-treated shrimp tend to show significantly higher survival rates when they're hit with major bacterial pathogens like Vibrio parahemolyticus or V. alginolyticus.
A direct protective effect.
It strongly suggests that, yes, establishing that beneficial microbiota provides real protection.
Are there specific strains that seem particularly good at this against those key Vibrios?
The research we looked at highlighted Lactobacillus plantarum and Pediococcus acetylactici. These seem particularly interesting.
Why those? What do they do?
Well, they don't just inhibit the pathogen growth. They've actually been shown to downregulate the expression of the pathogen's virulence genes, sort of disarming them.
Wow, okay. Actively reducing pathogenicity.
Exactly. And at the same time, they upregulate key immune genes in the shrimp host itself, so bolstering defenses from the inside while weakening the attacker.
The source mentioned tables summarizing mortality data.
Yes, compiling results across different trials, it consistently demonstrated significantly lower cumulative mortality after a pathogen challenge in shrimp that got probiotics or prebiotics in their diet.
Can you give a specific example? How much difference could it make?
One study cited found a 40% increase in survival for P. vannamei challenged with V. parahemolyticus after they had probiotic supplementation. 40%, that's substantial.
No kidding. That's a huge difference in a production setting. And is this just for bacterial diseases? What about viruses, like white spot?
That's another interesting finding. The research also suggests that treatments using probiotics, and particularly symbiotics, can lead to a significant reduction in white spot syndrome virus, WSSV, viral loads.
Really? Reducing viral load. The mechanisms might be complex there, I imagine.
They likely are, and probably still being fully worked out. But it points towards a potentially broader application for these additives beyond just bacteria, which is obviously great news, given how devastating WSSV can be.
So we'll pull all this together. It really seems like probiotics, prebiotics, symbiotics, they offer a powerful toolkit for shrimp aquaculture.
I think that's fair to say. They're strategic, sustainable tools. The benefits are clear. Better growth, stronger immunity, healthier gut environment. These aren't just small tweaks.
Right. It feels like a more fundamental approach to health management.
It does. And looking at the bigger picture, it's a move towards more environmentally responsible practices, isn't it? Reducing that reliance on antibiotics.
Absolutely. Mitigating some of the downsides of intensification while providing real alternatives.
Exactly. These functional additives, they feel critical for guiding shrimp farming towards a future that's, more resilient, more productive, but also more ecologically sound.
So the continued research and, importantly, the adoption of these strategies seems vital for the industry's long-term health.
Couldn't agree more. There's significant promise here. We're just scratching the surface of optimizing these approaches, I suspect.
Some really compelling insights today. Definitely highlights the potential for these functional additives to, really shape the future of how we farm shrimp.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the Aquaculture Podcast Show on your favorite platform. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook to stay updated on the latest episodes and industry insights. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.